Come on, Fitzy.
All right, well, hello, welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. My name is Brogan, and today we are doing another simple signal stream. So you might see, on the screen right now, it's looking pretty red. Obviously, very dramatic title, very dramatic thumbnail, new thumbnail, by the way. If you haven't seen it, press the back button, look at it, come back. It's pretty funny. Yeah, we're gonna get into it. It's not good. It's not good. That's all I'll say. But you also might notice top left-hand side of the screen, unless you've got some inverted screen or some upside-down screen for whatever reason, it'll be somewhere else. There's an actual logo of what looks to be a bit of like a monkey or something like that. Well, that is actually a partnership we have as well on the channel. So it is Apex Protocol. There are going to be videos on the channel which come out kind of explaining what it is. But it's basically like a decentralized trading area, a decentralized exchange. But you can kind of trade on it and do a lot of cool stuff. Obviously, I'm going to be making like an intro video for it and like kind of having a display of what you can actually do with it. It is very cool. Obviously, I think we might have a link in the description for that. So if depending where you are, come check it out. We also back streaming at 9 p.m. my time anyway. Obviously around the world, depending where you are, it'll be different. I was doing it at 5. It wasn't really working out too well, so if you're here, say hello. I think I'm trying to think of what else I need to do. If there's any other links apart from what I've just mentioned, which I think are important, or I might mention throughout the stream, they're going to be hopefully in the description. And I think that is pretty much it. I think we should just get onto look at CoinMarketCap, just see what the prices are in general, and just see what sort of situation we are in for the market, and then moving on to actual charts. It is bleak. It is really not good. Obviously, once Bitcoin fell and everything just tumbled, everything just followed suit. So Ethereum at $3,400. I don't know if that is below our order block. It might be. I think it is actually, which is really concerning. Bitcoin 64,615. That is below some order blocks. We had a double bottom, but we'll get into why that just did not work at all. BNB 579. I might have to look at that chart as well, just see the update on that. Solana $132. So it's not, it's not looking very good. Let me just bring up the studio and have a little look at what's going on the stream, and then we'll get into the Bitcoin chart. Give me a moment. If I do this, boom, hold on. Yeah, big drops, huge drops. I mean, especially Solana hurts. Solana does hurt. Seeing it go from like nearly $170 to $132-ish. We're going to be like below pretty much every single price area we had, which is going to be just so upsetting. So I'm not very happy about that. But hey ho, nonetheless, let me just bring that up. There we go. Okay, I've got everything up now. When do we bounce? I hope soon, and this is what we'll get into. Good segue. Going into where we are right now. So this is where we are. So this is the 1 hour, by the way. I wanted to have the 1 hour so I can show a bit more detail of what's going on. So this is the movement. So if I go back to the 4 hour, we can see what we had here. So this is the neckline, which is where you surpass to kind of break out. You can see we did, obviously that's why I'm on the 1 hour. We did, go a bit above the neck, or above the neckline from this double bottom. So we did, proceed to move, which is good. But obviously we stopped because these chart patterns, they're directional, they're not positional. Order blocks, resistance levels, whatever you may use, volume areas or liquidity points, whatever you want to use, those are positional. And double bottom, very cool, very great. A directional indication that we should be going up, very cool. We did, but we were below this huge order block. And what that meant was we technically surged above the neckline. Okay, we're starting to form through this, pattern, but we actually didn't go anywhere because of the fact that we had this big old resistance point of this order block, which we hadn't really seen apart from where we were in the past coming days. We hadn't really seen it until the end of May, which is a long time to see ourselves go without coming back to an order block. So very concerning there. And also what didn't help in this kind of whole thing was we on a different aspect of things, talking about this order block, we came up, and if you have watched any of my streams, and I talk about order blocks, and I talk about what needs to happen for an order block to, flip itself and become something which is support or resistance, it needs to come back to touch, itself again, so you can actually proceed upwards. In this case, I believe this is I think it's a positive order block, so it's not like a breaker block or anything. So we didn't, we kept above it. But you can see, in these scenarios, we came up and then we came back down to bounce it, and then we kept on bouncing off it. We had then, flipped it basically. Obviously over here as well, you can see, came down and then came back to test and then bounced off it basically. But in this scenario, you see we surged and then we had another green candle above, and then we had a red candle which didn't even come to touch it. And we didn't come back to the midpoint until like 3 candles, like 3 hours after surging above, which isn't very good, when you're trying to use some sort of order block as support. So you can see, we did come back to it here, and we did, have a bit of a bounce, but it's nothing it's not like a flip of a lot to turn it into a longer term support point because of the fact we didn't come back to test it as soon as we flipped it. And then obviously, lo and behold, we bounced off this line, which I've had for a while. I think it's just a varying line. It doesn't really matter, but we bounced off it anyway. You can see there. And then, we didn't have a lot of room. We just kind of just fell below because the lower point of this order block, there's no support there at all because we never came back to test it. Came to this line, a big sell point, and then just absolutely dumped, and it came right back down. But you can see, we haven't actually really come back to test it. But, when you try to flip an order block and then don't come back to test it and then flip it again to come back to where you were, it's like this is a quick surge. For this whole period from here, we bounced back. So in this whole area, it was resistance, and then we had the big surge. But since we never came back to test, coming back below it, we are basically in the same scenario we were over here. So it's basically doing this again. This was just a big old surge to try and test it, which we never, fully went through with. So now it's still going to be resistance, which is fine. But, more concerningly is what's happened now with what's going on. So you can see we kind of have this going on. So we had this line, depending on what sort of, methodology you use to, do your analysis, a good liquidity point. And you need to print below these liquidity points. So we had this point, which consistently bounced off twice here. And then we surged below, but we didn't print, so it was fine. We just bounced off it. But in this scenario, we've actually printed many times below this line. So what's going to happen now is that we're probably going to come back up. You see, we've found our next low point down here, which we've printed out multiple times. So what I think is going to happen is we are going to, unless we have a big surge and continue to go down, which, is possible. But obviously, if you look at the 1 hour market cipher B, you can see we've got bullish divergence. We're below the 60 mark. Things are coming up. However, VWAP's having a bit of a rough time. But, momentum is coming up. But I would rather look at the 4 hour to see if we're going to continue to come upwards or not, or flip ourselves. And you can see we're actually now exceeding the 60 mark. We're actually coming across the 60 mark to try and, flip it and start to come upwards and be positive. So what I think that means, I think we still have some negativity. So on the 4 hour, again, also, market cipher is a print lagging indicator, so it will take a longer time for it to, kind of have an understanding of what's going on. So you can see we're going to print in the next hour at 10 o'clock when we start to end the stream. So we will come back to this. However, I think when we print, momentum's going to, of printing below the 60 mark and start to arc. I think VWAP's going to continue to go upwards. And I think money flow, as you can see right now, is being a bit neutral. I think we might hover a bit, maybe one more candle of hoverage and kind of stay in this area. And then we'll probably start to come upwards. So, because we do need to come back to this top area to then form what I see as being a very bad bear trend. So you can see we've got these lows here. We're bouncing off it here, continue to come down, probably continuing into the 64,300 area. What I think happens is we then have this. Well, you see, we only have one bounce off it, so we can't have a good. We don't know what the gradient is going to be of it. So it could be like quite a wide range of it. The only reason I have this line is because it was the previous point of the highest kind of area where we would probably bring the price to. However, we could more than likely bounce off this line, and that would mean it would be, if I shimmy this along, it would be something like this. If we start to print, coming upwards now, probably printing about here, bouncing off this line, the range could be, something like this instead, which, looks more like a range, anyway. So we'll probably bounce off this area, come really far below. Yeah. So yeah, check the comments. That's pretty good there. But anyway, as I was saying, this is more of a range than I would expect. This is a bit funny. It's probably some expanding wherever the hell, and it's probably some chart pattern which brings us back upwards. But I would expect this to happen. Now, I didn't actually write the title of this stream, or on certain platform anyway. Actually, I could probably say it on YouTube because we're not on any other exchanges, which is great. So YouTube, we do have the title being, what is it again? It's like something crazy. Yeah, Bitcoin to 57k. Oops. So I bring that back up. So Bitcoin to 57k. So I didn't write that. I will preface that. I guess we can see how viable it is, but I don't think. Let me go to far. It's a bit better to zoom out. So 57k. Well, obviously, we have had this previous bounce there, and technically, over a long period of time, that would be where we should come to. You see, because this is the lowest point we had, and that's the highest point. We have had this range coming in now for a while. I think Mike has this on his weekly time frame, whatever. But you can see, we have been kind of in this range now, coming to the bounce now, probably coming down in the range now. So, technically, you could argue, we have this range, coming. Actually, you know what? Let me draw this big thing on a new chart, because it's quite hard to see what's going on because I have so much other things going on. So we go to this. There we go. So if I redraw this, it was about something like this, with the tops doing something like this. There we go. That's the range. So it's see bounce, roughly bounce. It's rough. If I went to the weekly, it might be a bit better. You can see bounce, coming down now to a bounce. Obviously, this is if we count how long it took, this is weekly, so this is going to take a while for it to happen. Obviously, if I come back to daily, you can see it is now starting to arc to be the next move down back towards 56k. For Bitcoin, which would be absolutely mental. This is the daily, this is the weekly time frame. These are larger time frames, so it doesn't necessarily mean we can't have positive movements, within weeks, and kind of ignore that. Let me actually also, I do want to draw this because I really like it. I want to see if there's any order block below. You can see, this is the next point, which I don't know if we have. I just want to have a chart which is a bit cleaner, so we can look at order blocks a bit better than what we have done previously. But if I draw this line, you can see if we actually do start to really fall coming into next week or whatever, if we do possibly have that much of a movement downwards, which we might do, we can see came upwards. We have possibility of coming up to 6% in a day and having these sorts of movements. Then we hovered, and now it looks like we're in the downtrend, or we're in the decline. You can see here we have a decent gradient coming down now, so we could expect to have decently high movements per day. So if I remove this white line, you can see we're in a pretty sharp downtrend right now, coming down. So over the next coming days, probably coming towards Tuesday time, probably coming towards 62,250. Obviously, meeting these lines down here, and this would make sense. This would actually make sense. Going along this gradient, we have to print. Depending on obviously what strategy you use. I'm trying to incorporate this methodology or way of thinking where you go to the the highest point, you try and print above it, and then you kind of reverse in that sort of method. Obviously, in this case, this was the highest wick would be about in this area, print above it, reverse, and then probably somewhere down here you can see these were the lows. You print below it, and then you reverse, and then you had a good high here. And then obviously print above it and then reverse. So this is roughly the area, possibly around here. Obviously you can see consistent point in this rough area. You can see print below, reverse. So we've had our we've had our print above high point over here where we reverse now. So the next point down is either going to be something like here where we might see some hoverage in about the 60.5 area. Obviously, you know, we do have this order block at 62k, but the lowest point, which we might not print below, is 56.6 whatever. So I think roughly about 58 would be where I'd expect us to print about before we reverse. Obviously, if you remove all this and ignore it and just follow the trend, it does bring us even lower, possibly. It depends. If you go to the wicks, though, obviously, if we shimmy this up to the wicks, which is going to be the extremes, you know, bear that in mind. You can see, you know, bounce, like rough bounce, really rough bounce coming in soon, possibly towards, you know, 54.5. So that would be probably the worst case, and that's not going to be something we would print at on the lower times possibly, but this is the daily time frame. Do bear that in mind. So, you know, on the lower time frames, you might print there, you know, do something and, you know, kind of crabbing. But this is obviously if you were to draw this trend line for the wicks. So you can see it would bring us roughly towards about 54.5. So we could wick down there. But obviously I don't like drawing it there. I want to draw the most consistently bounced off area. As you can see, you know, we actually printed at these lines here, roughly bouncing off of here. So this is, you know, 55.5. So coming towards 55.5, 56, wicking down possibly towards 54.5 is roughly where I see us going towards near, you know, next month probably, which would be, you know, pretty negative. But I think we are in a downtrend now unless we do something to reverse. I think we come towards 62.5, 62 basically. This could either mean we crab and reverse here and then come back upwards and then come down, or we just come down, because, you know, there are moments where, you know, in this case, for example, you know, in the middle where that's a terrible drawing. You can see in the middle here. So, you know, we come down, we bounce, and then, you know, in theory, you'd think, okay, so we've come down from a top point. We're now bouncing off our trend line. We then should come upwards. But you can see we bounce off a midpoint and then come down again, and then we bounce off it, and then we have a little, you know, downtrend, and then obviously we break above. So there's possibility where we could flip this and then come towards 62k, and then, you know, maybe bounce again towards 71 and then come down. You know, that could also be a technical, you know, kind of double top before we come down, breaking this neckline. If we do bounce off 62k is what I'm trying to say, and then that would obviously bring us towards here. So there is possibility, is what I'm trying to say. There is possibility that we do bounce off this terrible end and come back upwards towards, you know, 70k. 71k, and then come all the way down towards 55k. This is the daily, though. This is going to take a long time to happen. So as I said, this is something you want to watch out for in the future. Trying to look at the overall trend in the market. So, you know, I would look for shorts within the coming days of how I trade. Obviously, if I go to the 4 hour or the 1 hour, I'd want to, you know, look for short trades as we're coming into the daily printing. Obviously, well, you know, it depends, because, you know, if you're at the bottom here, you can see you come up in the day and you might print a green. Again, over here, you're printing at the bottom. You'll start to print greens until you come to the top. So now, if we print about 64.5, I'd want to look for longs maybe coming up towards 66, or, you know, 60, whatever the hell in this range. So there's that aspect of things. Or overall, on the day by day basis, you'd want to look to short basically, or maybe come towards 66 and short towards 62. You know, that could be a decent long term. If that comes over from here, takes a wee while to come. It could take, you know, 11 days, 12 days to happen, you know, nearly pushing it towards 2 weeks. Could come towards 62k, like I said. So that's the daily analysis. I'm going to quickly go back to the 1 hour, 4 hour, see what, or go back over what I'm saying. If people have just joined us on the stream, go back over what I just talked about on the 1 hour, and then we can move on to Ethereum, Solana, and whatnot. Also, I do want to preface, if you have any coins you want me to cover, or you know, anything chart related. You know, it could be something on like Dex Screener. You know, it could be something which isn't on TradingView on the big exchanges, and it's something really new. I'll look at those charts. Obviously, I will preface, if it's lower cap, it might be wrong. But you know, if you've got any coins you want me to cover, I actually should probably look at the comments actually while I'm here. I might need to pick up some more dupe. What price should we go to? Okay, I'll do some analysis on dupe. I'll write on my list. So obviously, you know, if you've been here before, you know the process. I'm going to cover Ethereum, Solana now, and then onwards. So that's what I think on the daily. This is a decent order block. If I could shimmy it to here, It could be 62 to 250. Obviously within this range here. Obviously, if we go back to 1 hour, like I said, okay, this is. What am I doing? Here it is. So, like I said, this is what I think on the lower time frames anyway. We have this range. I think we print in this area, probably coming back upwards towards, 65-ish, and then we come back down. I think we're now in this downtrend. If we print following it, it could be sharper, and this is what I'm trying to say as well. It could be sharper. We haven't bounced off the line. In this scenario, you can see it bounced there and bounced there. We now have the bottom trend line. We have our lower lows. We don't have our lower highs yet, because we can see we had this bounce at 65,750, but we haven't come back to it. So it depends on if we print at about 65.5, where I think we could go to, or we come even lower towards this line and it'd be 65 instead. So it'll depend on how it goes. But on the 4 hour, like I said, I think we might have a print or two until we start to become positive again. And then come upwards. But you can see where our our money flow is quite low right now. If we start to come upwards, it could be pretty crazy. VL's starting to kind of do its thing, but what I'm interested in is the fact that the momentum is now coming towards being below the 60 mark, and arcing upwards. You can see every time you come below the 60 mark, you do have really good movements. On a general, you can see in this scenario. Obviously this took a long time. It depends. It does depend. Again, it is a directional tool. In this scenario, we had a big surge. Obviously, this was pretty huge though. Again, big surge. Coming towards it here. We were kind of hovering though, but you do have these positive movements. So I'm excited to see what happens. I think printing on to the next 4 hour, we might have some positive potential for Bitcoin coming back up towards 65k before we bounce and then come down even lower. But anyway, I'm going to move on now to Ethereum and see what sort of bloodshed we've had in our charts. How much have we broken? Okay. Right, okay. So, what happened? Well, obviously we know what happened. So, what did we have? Okay, well, we had this high point. Obviously, this is before the market dumped. So, we didn't have this happen. So, we didn't have that. Obviously, we were in our downtrend. We then broke below, obviously, as the market dumped, breaking below every single order block we had, which is unfortunate. Then coming towards the top of this order block. I don't know why I have a line here. Oh, I've already done TA on this. Oh, is this... I think I've already done analysis on this. Oh, yeah, this is some quick analysis. Yeah, this is some, trash. Yeah, this is funny. Yeah, so we didn't actually do this. I was doing it about 3 o'clock Wednesday. We didn't have the print out yet. Yeah, this is pretty funny. But anyway, we bounced off the top of this order block, come down, bounce off this midpoint. We're kind of just respecting all these different areas. We bounced off this line, which is interesting. A really long term. Bouncing off it again, actually. So what do we have? Well, we have the bottom range being about 3358. Obviously, the top being within this top area here. But you can see, this is the unfortunate one. This is when you've really effed it up and you flipped it. This coming down, bouncing, or coming down and bouncing, and then we come down. This is just horrible stuff to see. So we've really properly flipped pretty much everything here. And even worse, you can see here, okay, let me zoom in on this actually. We came below, and then we bounced off the midpoint of this order block. Okay, we still had hope at, 3,500. Okay, cool, bouncing. How are we going to go? Okay, well, we've already flipped this order block, so we're probably going to bounce off the midpoint. Makes sense. And then the unfortunate part, which isn't very nice, is we then came below this order block, and then we bounced. And so we've just come below every single order block, and we're just in a really bad situation. Now, again, what's actually nice about Ethereum right now is that we actually have our range kind of already been printed out for us, which is nice, as you can see here. Oh, you know what? I might need to start streaming again at 9 to 10 because there's actually people here. Tariq's here. Hello, Tariq. I thought you for 9 cent. That's a shame. Obviously, again, it's probably better than what it could have been. But you know what I mean? Like, back when we were talking about it, it was like 40 cent. It came to as low as 40 cent, 50 cent. But hello, Christian. Actually, I think you messaged me on Telegram. I didn't actually get around to look at the message. I think I clicked it and then forgot about it. So, sorry about that. Yeah, I should probably read it now, actually. But hello anyway. Welcome to the stream. I'm so glad you can actually join us. But anyway, yeah, you can see, we are actually having this range now. Boom, boom, bouncing, bouncing. Probably going to continue to just come lower and lower in this area. You can see as well how bad it is. Our momentum is just, doing this malarkey, just absolutely messing up. It's coming down now, though. Money flow is coming down. VL's coming down. I don't really see us. I think we come down, towards 3,380 and then go out. It's just an obvious downtrend. Obviously, it's not like it's a bear flag or anything per se. But obviously, if we have this coming down, it is, it's not very good. But however, obviously, thinking about it, everything has negative potential right now. Okay, so this isn't looking good. So you can see, bounce, rough, kind of a bounce there. You know what? I wish I could. I wish I could twist rectangles, but I guess I can't. But anyway, you can see bounce, long-term thing, probably coming down towards 3,300 for Ethereum, which would be really not nice. But what I think if you were here, just now for the Bitcoin analysis on the daily and the weekly, you'll see how low I think we're going to go. Crazy. So really not surprised if we did have coming towards this trend line and breaking below this line. You can see we've knocked at this line twice now. Obviously, it wasn't anything really long. Obviously, we had bounces at it. But you can see we bounced off it there, I suppose. But we never really had anything crazy until now, obviously bouncing at it, probably breaking below. I think we continue this trend, unless we are, stopping out now and kind of hovering at this line. I don't think so. I think I'll have to go to the 4 hour to see this, because I can't really do proper analysis on if we're going to break down below this line on the 1 hour. It'd have to be the 4 hour or the daily in this case. So you can see, downtrend, proper downtrend, even probably better actually on the daily. You can see really properly, bouncing off this line continuously, probably bouncing towards, we probably have some sort of retracement, as I do expect for Bitcoin and everything, probably bring us towards, 3,460, 3,500, that kind of area, over maybe tomorrow or whenever, coming days. But I do think we still hold this trend line we have coming down, eventually either bouncing out this line, which I don't think we do. I think we do break it because of how negative I think we are going to be on, if you just saw what happened with Bitcoin, you would know. There's a ton of TA over here, which is just absolutely just in a mess. Let me just delete a bunch of this. Okay, there we go. But yeah, it's not looking good. Like I said, it is not looking good. I think in general, everything's going to be moving down over. So I was reading a comment, I completely lost what it was. I think in general, we are all going to be moving in the same direction. Obviously, it's easier to tell what's going on in the market if you look at the daily and kind of apply everything. Obviously, if you look at, for example, if you look at the lower time frames, it's harder to apply, analysis or price action on one coin to a different coin because of the lower time frame. But if we're looking at the daily and the weekly, which we did for Bitcoin or have done for Bitcoin just now, like 10 minutes ago, whatever it was, or 5 minutes ago, you'll see, I expect it to come down towards, 5,500 or 55,000. Sorry. I think I can easily apply this to where we are right now for Ethereum. Actually, we also have this top end, which is nice. Here, bounce. I think we could wick. I think we do stay below this rough area about 3,550. We could wick towards 3,568, could be possible, but it looks like we are in this pretty nasty downtrend here for Ethereum. But what I do actually want to do is I haven't used Bookmap or anything like that in a while, to look at shorter term price areas to see where we're going to be going to. I want to see if what I think is correct. Let me just quickly, I'll move on. I'll do an analysis on Solana as I'm loading Bookmap to see how it's going. So yeah, what happened? So we had the arc, the down movement, and then we crashed. So what was this line? I actually don't know why I had that line. What was that for? Okay, it was probably since last stream, whatever it was. Okay, so pretty obvious downtrend here, which is nice. I always like to have a obvious downtrend. It's just alt tab me though. Let me just close this. Okay, so anyway, continuing. Big old downtrend, really obvious downtrend here. I think everything is crazily down right now. See, but bounce, a possibility to come upwards. Again, I think Solana does move a bit differently than the market. I think it can move a bit more. Obviously, it's, the amount is less, so the impact it has on the change is greater. For Solana. So I think where I think Ethereum and Bitcoin do have a potential to move up a bit more, I think Solana does. Again, I mean, this is an obvious trend. I think it's quite obvious to say, unless we break down, is possible. But I think we do come upwards towards back up here, about $146 for Solana. Again, you can also see by the momentum and VWAP and money flow. Money flow is kind of hovering, has potential to start to arc a tiny bit to have a bit more of a positive trend. VWAP's doing its thing, but momentum is below the 60 mark and it's starting to arc, which is nice. Very, very nice for potential to tell us we should be probably coming back upwards towards $145 and beyond $146. But what I do want to do though is okay, Bitcoin USDT. There we go. So I want to load up this data. Okay. So let me just wait for that to load while we do this. And I'll take a screenshot and show it on the screen as we, when it loads. So we kind of there's not really much more to say actually. It's kind of really obvious, like bounce, potential to bounce. Obviously, 3 times a pattern. Depends on a downtrend. You have 3 bounces. We could break below, and that is something. Because you can't just stay in a trend forever and forever. Obviously, this isn't this isn't a flag or a pennant or anything like that. So it could have potential to stay in it for longer. But normally on a downtrend, when you have these bounces, I think if you're on an uptrend, it's on the higher end. If you're on a downtrend, it's on the lower end. In terms of, you normally have like 3 bounces before you break out of wherever you're doing, which is normally what happens. So what could happen is, we have the breakout towards, $126, whatever, and then we bounce back off this top range and then really just, crap the bed towards these lower ranges down here. Yeah. But anyway, like I was saying, that is a possibility that could happen. However, I do think we should have some sort of positive movement. And this is the 4 hour, by the way. 4 hours pretty good in terms of looking at market cipher and that whole sphere of things and the directional. Obviously, on the lower time frames, it does get a bit cranky. But even if we go to the 1 hour, we should have positivity. Yeah, it's starting to look positive. Obviously, money flow is really coming down or really arcing downwards now. But we are below the 60 mark, having potential to come upwards again. Obviously, we do also seem like we have an even sharper trend line down. We also have this line here, which just backs up even further the bounce off of this top line. We have this order block here, which is very interesting. I'm trying to see if we have a big surge upwards in the next 26 minutes. We could have potential for, if we surge a bit back upwards, for our movement. You can see boom, 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 coming back upwards and then coming down again. Could have this. Could have something like this. It does depend on if we print out properly on this or not and how it goes. I'm entering big entry now. Good. It could be, and this is what I'm saying. Obviously, I've actually opened a bookmap to try and find to try and back up what I'm saying. But we've really heavily come down. Expecting, if I go back to Bitcoin, which I'm going to do, because I actually have my analysis which I want to look at to see if it works. So what I think is going to happen is we're in this downtrend. I think we come back upwards towards this area. Now, actually, I do want to ask you a question, Kishan. Is this a entry over how long is this? How long is this going to last? Is this like, are you doing like leverage trading type of thing, or are you actually like buying Bitcoin or buying whatever and waiting out? Because I will go back to my analysis which I did before we moved on the daily. So yeah, if you quickly have a look at what I've done, I explained my issues of what's going on right now, and this is the thing. This is why I want to know, Kishan, if you're buying or not, or if you're trading like leverage type of trade or futures, is we are going to be coming down pretty heavy. We've had this. We are in this range, boom, 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 boom. Bouncing. Obviously, you have this midpoint. And what I said though, and this is what I said. This is what I said. We have potential for a bounce off the midpoint to come back upwards. So this is why I want to wait a couple days. Obviously, if we do continue this range, I wouldn't recommend buying right now. We do have so much potential. I think you wait out for a month and then buy towards the 50,000s range. And then you have just ride it all the way up back towards 70,000, 27.5%, 3% up for Bitcoin would be pretty crazy. Now, this is what I'm saying though. I think you wait out a tiny bit. I would wait out a tiny bit. I think I would short, obviously, if you're trading leverage or futures, whatever, and it's directional trade, and this isn't buying, then I would probably short, definitely. I would probably short over the next days, coming towards 62, 250 roughly for Bitcoin, where I think the deciding factor is going to be for this. Now, what could happen is, if this happens, is obviously we have our bounce, we come back to this neckline, technically, bouncing off this rough range up here. I think it would definitely break us below here. Again, see, kind of the same thing here. See bounce, and then obviously we had our surge upwards here. Obviously, this kind of being the double bottom, and then breaking us upwards again, staying in this range, obviously, like I said. So that's what I kind of think, and that's why I would rather wait. Coming towards maybe the weekend, actually. Obviously, I wouldn't want to wait a week, but I think we do move down. I think we continue to move down towards 62, 3,000. So be careful. But what I do want to do actually is go onto Bookmap. I will screenshot if there's anything interesting. So we actually have 64,740. So let me go back to MEXC. Let me go back to my chart on this unnamed place, which I definitely just didn't name. Going back to here. So, where do we have... Okay, I guess I'll just screenshot it and show the data. Right, so it's about here. So, what do we have? Well, okay, my screenshot is not working. Let me... Also, if any of you guys use Bookmap, do you have any settings, suggestions? Because mine just looks trash. But anyway, let me bring this up on here. Okay, so it's going to be a bit rough to do this. Let me just shimmy it across here and then zoom in. So, okay, what do we have? You actually can't see the numbers. That sucks. Okay, I'll just tell you what ranges this is. So, this is 64,750. Where's that? 64,750 is right here. Basically right above. So we do have a lot of pressure above us, which makes sense. Obviously, you can see having this area here, which we are just having complete difficulty at, which sucks. Which does suck. So obviously, this does kind of suggest to me that we're staying in this complete negative range, coming down. However, I think over a longer period of time, before we come back to that. But actually, let me go back to check something. I want to look for the larger amount of money, which we would probably come to, which I think is of now. It's 64,000 is the largest. It's got about 125. Obviously, this data aggregation isn't very good on my end. But 63,500 has big. But I think the biggest one in where we have right now, we have a lot at about 65,000, 64,750 as well. So 65. Okay, let me go back to it quickly. Yeah, here we go. So 65.5. Up here is where I think we have potential for a huge amount of, kind of buy, which also suggests we could come back towards 65, which is where we have a ton of, sales at this area. So we have 65, which is what I'm trying to say. I think we do have difficulty at 65 instead of 65,424. So I do think we come towards 65 and then bounce off that, which is basically where the range is anyway. But I do think we have mediocre difficulty at about where we have right now, about 64,750, this area, kind of following down here, and then coming back upwards towards 65, and then bouncing back down in the range, coming down. So that's what I kind of think right now for Bitcoin. Obviously, I wanted to just back it up with this data over here. Yeah, the main area of sale is about 64,800, which is basically this line here, which you see we're having difficulty at. So I think we come back to that to kind of just get more sells, and then it brings us back to around 64.2, which is actually 51, which is actually the next point. So I think it's something like this. So it comes back up, down, and then we come back up and down again. I think something like that, something in this area. So could look for some sort of maybe long at 64.2. Obviously, it depends on what you want to do. Let me check the comments though. There's been a lot of comments. Okay, what do you think that we do this time? Should I buy meme coins or keep my Bitcoin up? It depends. I mean, it depends on what you want to do. Now, I'll actually really quickly go back, but I do need to move on back to looking at the new coins like Dupe. If I go to the chart we looked at on the higher time frames, you could be DCAing or whatever. That would take over this is the daily time frame. This would take a longer time to happen. In the question, should are you asking, would it be foregoing your Bitcoin for meme coins? Would it be, you sell some Bitcoin and then buy some meme coins, try and trade that, and then come back in? Because that is potential. I think, this is an obvious range. Now, before I recommend this, obviously, this is not financial advice. I do want to preface that as well. Because, I am not some expert which knows everything, and, I'm not a trained person in this, I suppose you want to say. I don't know. It's not financial advice. It's just my opinion on what is in front of me. But if the scenario is, which I'm going to assume, is you kind of sell your Bitcoin or sell some Bitcoin to try and buy some meme coins to get a good return before the next point you should be buying Bitcoin. Well, my kind of suggestion would be wait towards the end of the week, see what happens here, because what I'm comparing this situation to is this kind of situation where we have we've bounce, then we have this midpoint scenario, and then we bounce, and now we're coming back down. So I want to be careful of the scenario where we have difficulty here, we bounce back up to towards 71, or we continue the range and come all the way below towards 55. So what you could do is wait it out. If you wanted to sell now, you could make a bit more Bitcoin on top of where we are right now, because we are coming down this range. So you could either sell, wait for Thursday time, which is probably where I'm going to stream next, actually, Wednesday, Thursday time. See what happens. If we bounce, then just buy back at about 62.8. We'll probably come back up towards some sort of 70,000 area, or if you've sold and we break below, ride it all the way down towards 55, 56k, and then buy back and then ride that back up. So potential for, if you want to trade within the next coming days, meme coins, you could sell now. Not financial advice. You could sell now. Actually, that's Wednesday next week, isn't it? Oh, I'm stupid. It's the daily was so large, actually. Wednesday next week. So you have about a potential week, where you could sell now. Or, I mean, if we bounce back upwards, you can sell then, but I think you just ride the range down. You could sell, trade meme coins, try and get some return on that, and then wait to buy back at about 63, 62.50, 62.250. Obviously, like I said, if we do break below, all hell break loose, and we're going to come all the way down to these low points at about 60,000. I mean, to be potential wise, print below at 60,000 and then come back upwards. That is potential. You can see with this, this is the lowest point of liquidity. We could, print below and reverse and come back upwards. But if we respect this range, and then follow through, we could come towards 56,000 down here. So you could sell, see how that goes, and then buy back, at 14.2%, more on top, I suppose, or whatever it is, whatever that turns out to be. You could buy then. But yeah, there's potential. You could sell now, trade meme coins for a week, and then buy back for Bitcoin. But yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to move on now, though, to Jupe to see... actually, what was the question? What was the question? It was Jupe. It was a Jupe question. Is it buy Jupe now? Was that the question? Oh, okay, right. So you want to pick up more Jupe? Okay, cool. So let me. I'll load up Jupe on this bookmap. Do we have a Jupe pair? I wonder. Okay, we don't have a Jupe pair, which is unfortunate. But okay, I'm gonna close the bookmap. I just want to use it for Bitcoin to see if I was right. So anyway, this is the daily. We're actually coming down to probably bouncing off this area. We're actually pretty low. Now, what could happen is we've come to our low liquidity point. Okay, I don't think this can happen because the entirety of the market is coming down. But potential for a retractment towards 79 and then come down once again. Kind of like a... okay, let me go to the 4 hour because this is hard to see what's going on. So what's happening right now? This is our low, point. We are printing below it. Potential to kind of stop around here and then come up. And this would follow through with the idea, I'm having with where I recommend for the entirety of the market to be retracting. And I think everything should be retracting soon. Fiat's coming up. Money flow is neutral. Potential to come upwards. And then momentum is, quite deep below the 60 mark and starting to arc. So potential for it to kind of do this, where I think we kind of, bounce off 70 and then come back up towards, 78 and then, come down once again and then follow this as a lower high scenario bouncing off, here. So how low could we come? Well, I think 64 is going to be a huge, not huge, a decently large price point for Jupe. Let's see if there's any order blocks actually while I'm down here. I don't know if there is. I don't think so. We do actually have this here, which is pretty decent. There you can see. That's a decent support point. Obviously, that's coming along really far now. So that's about 56, 55, which is makes sense anyway. Trying to see if there's any order blocks where we are right now. I don't think there is. You can see bouncing consistently off about 55, which makes sense. So we could come towards as we retract, bouncing off, having now lower highs, coming down towards here, and then seeing what happens here. So this is what I'm concerned about, though, is if we continue to come down, as I expect we could do via this, bouncing off about 63, 68. We could end up having a scenario where we come towards this kind of low point here and then either break up, break down, maybe breaking down towards 56, 55. So if I was you and wanted to buy Jupe, I would probably wait it out until maybe 60, 64. 64 would be pretty huge. If I shimmy this across about 60, so 63 and a half, 64. You see, bounce there, heading our unfortunate area. Really strong bounces twice off here, and then even 3 times actually, and then obviously forming this order block, and then absolutely surging. So I think 63 and a half is going to be a bit of a huge support point, which we're not quite there yet. So I think you could buy it at 63 and a half. I think that's where we could potentially come to as our low point. I don't expect it to come even lower. I think even now at 70, 63 area, I think this is an absolute steal for Jupe. Coming into it now. For where we are right now and where we could be in the future. But again, like I said, with the market as a whole, with Bitcoin and Ethereum, I think if I go to daily even, I think it's down from here, and it's very sharply down from here. I think it brought us towards the 14th to the 15th of June. So if we continue that, possibly having some sort of, I don't really think that we have a trend per se. Maybe this could be a trend. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Towards the 15th of June could bring us towards 58, 59, 60, which is our lower line anyway, which is towards where I expect. Okay, let me bring that line back actually. So where I think we see the bottom is I think the middle of next month, which is basically in a month's time. which is about the 15th of July, roughly, which brings us to about 60. So I think the lowest we could see as a whole over this, coming month, over the daily, is about 60. Unless we completely surge, which, unless something really bad happens for Dupe, I think 60 is the lowest we might see. Obviously, maybe wicking towards 56 down there. So I think 63.5 is a good buy. Potential for 60, but I'd rather be safe than sorry, obviously. I think we do bounce off of 63 a couple times, possibly. But again, if we have this daily range, which we are possibly respecting decently. Well, to be fair, we actually could have broken out of this. You can see we've probably broken out of it actually now, and that could be another line. So I think we do come towards 63.5, maybe possibly 60 towards the middle of the month. So I think that's kind of the range. So you might want to be buying within here, that area. Actually, let me circle it better. In this range here, towards the month. And then I think middle of next month is when we start to see proper positivity in the daily and really coming upwards in our sentiment on the high time frames for the market as a whole, coming upwards, bringing us as high as where we've probably been for Jupiter. So, but like I said, I think where we are right now, even right now towards about 70 cent, I think is an absolute steal for Jupe. Coming any lower, I don't think we come towards 46 or anything like that. I think we do stay above. I think 55 cents probably the worst we might see for Dupe. But I mean, yeah, that's my opinion. I mean, yeah, 45, 50. I mean, 45 was a really consistent bounce as well. You can see about here in this range, 45 was consistent. 45.5, whatever. I don't think we come as low as that. I do think 55 is as low as we see it for Dupe. But yeah, that's kind of Dupe. I think 60 cents, 63 to 60 cents a good buy. Yeah, that's my Dupe. I kept that quite long. We haven't had any other coins. So we have been streaming about 57 minutes now. We've covered the main coins on Dupe. Actually, let's see what some significance has to say. Is it Nan? Oh yeah, there's not enough data. Yeah, I mean absolutely, yeah. It's too much to do. I think we have to go on the lower time frames to have some sort of chance of finding something low. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. You see, bounce there, bounce there, bounce there. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's yeah. Anyway, it's too hard for it to find good support points. So I lost more 40% in Dupe. I mean, if that is an additional of 40% towards your price, then possibly. Obviously, I mean, I don't like being negative, but it is just what I think is going to happen. Especially, I keep on reiterating over this chart, which we just drew. I think this is a crazy chart. Dupe's about 71 cent. Yeah, I think, like I said, I think the lowest is, I think a good buy is 63 to 60 cent. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm gonna buy more. I mean, like I was saying just then as well, I think 71 cent, 70 cent for Dupe is an absolute steal anyway over the long period of time. So, to be safe and sorry, if you didn't care about optimizing completely, buying now could be a long-term play anyway. And like I said with Bitcoin, I do think there is potential you could sell now or wait, a day or two, or maybe towards the end of the week when we come back towards about 66 maybe, could sell and then, as the suggestion was, trade in meme coins to get a good return. Wait until Wednesday next week, which I will stream for. Maybe Wednesday, Thursday, Friday next week I'll stream. If we bounce, we could see ourselves go towards a higher range, towards 71, and we could, neglect the negativity potential. But even then, that's towards the end of the month. So this is the thing. This is kind of the turning point, I think, for everything in the market as a whole. Coming towards about 28th of June. If we bounce off this and do something like this and come back up towards 71, that'd be huge for everybody. Buy back. But what could happen? You sell within the next 2 or 3 days. Either we break below this and ride it all the way down towards 56k and buy back. That would be a huge return when we come back upwards towards our top of the range at about 70,000, 69,000 up here. That would be absolutely huge. A huge return. Or, like I said, you sell, trade in meme coins. If you want to, that is not financial advice. That is that other guy's question. Or sell now and then buy back at the 30th of June-ish. About 62,250, and then we could ride it back up towards 71 and get a good return there. And if Bitcoin's bouncing, the market will be coming upwards. And this is the daily, by the way. This is the daily on Bitcoin. This is basically the indication of the market. If Bitcoin's going down, the market's going down. Obviously, that is there's caveats to that. Obviously, if it's lower cap market coins and things like that. So we've done some TA on coins where the market's been going down, but even that coin, that Marga coin, the 40th Marga coin, whatever it was, there's a bunch of them. That was going up when everything was going down. So there's potential to be doing separate TA on meme coins and lower cap coins and trading within that as we wait for Bitcoin to come down towards 62,250, getting a good return on that, and then buying back Bitcoin with whatever money you've made, or trying to anyway, and then seeing if we either come back upwards towards 71 and bounce, or we ride it down all the way towards either 60k or even worst case, 56k, 57k for Bitcoin. But yeah, I think that is pretty much it. If no one has any other coins you want me to cover, I should actually probably check the other chat. I didn't really realise that was there. I forgot. Just reading another chat now. See if there's any coins anyone wants to cover. It's just bots. Yeah, it's just bots. Oh yikes! Oh yikes was there. Oh, I didn't realise. Yeah, I did not read that chat. Yeah, there's no moon. We're not mooning ever. Anyway, I'm not reading that chat. It's just absolutely trash. It's just bots. Litecoin. I will look at Litecoin. I think that might be my last coin because it is. We've been streaming for roughly an hour. So what's happened? Okay, obviously everything's fallen out of everything. So what happened? So we actually respected this line. Okay, this is good. Boom, boom. Okay, this is good. We respected this quite well. We're now bouncing off this bottom line, which we had for a while. A really negative line for some reason. Just deleting some of this crap here over there. Okay, so what's happened? So we've bouncing off this order block a decent amount of time. So we've really properly confirmed this as resistance point. Where are we right now? Well, this was, and this is matching the same ideology I've had for everything, where we've had a good amount of movement, whatever. I think we do retract in some regard. So I think everything does retract at some point. Like I said, with Bookmap, looking at high points on the order book to see if we come towards a high point or a low point. It comes towards, was it 64, whatever it was. So I think we do have a retractment. So we have printed below this low point of liquidity quite deeply, actually. So I do think we might come back upwards, maybe towards... Actually, you know what? I can't. I was going to look at the order book, but I can't really. It's not looking bad. I do think we retract and have some sort of positivity. I'm trying to see if there's any other low points. Actually, this was probably the lowest point from what I can see, which we didn't come below. I mean, this is okay. Well, this is actually the lowest point. So, actually, well, that's also the lowest point. Okay, I'm gonna stop doing that. So you can see, so this is a really low point there. We're printing below it. I do expect us. We actually had resistance there. To be fair, I think we're in these trenches. But as you can see by market cipher, we're on the 4 hour as well. By the way, 63. Let me have a look at the potential of that. I mean, yeah, you can see there is potential for 63. Obviously, I'd have to go on the daily time frame to really see this. You can see, bounce, really big moon upwards, coming down. I do think maybe... Okay, let me delete all this crap to you over here. I don't really care about this. You can see, we roughly have something here. You can see bounce there, bouncing off it here, bouncing off here. So 68 is where I think we could come to, and then reverse. So 63, more than enough potential, absolutely. But if you see it, you can see from the top of this range to the bottom, this 67.5 range is actually the midpoint of this range. So I think that would be an important aspect to look at, definitely. So I think 67, about 67.74, 67.50, or 67.63, that's where I think we could come to. We could come as low as 60, 63. Obviously, we do have a ton of low points down there. You're bouncing off it twice there. There is more than enough potential there. I'm trying to see if there's a trend line. Not really. We've really just broken below it. Yeah, this is what... okay, so you see bounce by bounce, come up. maybe coming down to here and then bouncing off the trend line, aka this really old order block. Is this even potential? Is this even possible? 22% move? I don't think that's possible. Actually, is it? I mean, we've moved down a ton in what 2 days. 10% in 2 days is possible. I think we continue to come down. I think we could ride it up a bit. I think we should have some retractment in some regard. I do think we probably haven't finished our fall down. You know, we can see money flows really also still coming down. VWAP's still coming down. We haven't really passed the 60 mark for that turn. We are now starting to pass it. So obviously on the oversold aspect of things, we probably still have enough room to move down another 4%. That is possible. But I would expect a retractment very soon, especially for everything in the market. I think is retracting. There's a really good order block here, actually. I didn't even realize. At about 78.50. Mikey Benson, bye-bye. I mean, yeah. I absolutely agree. I mean, I do think, like I said, on pretty much every other chart, I think on the 4 hour, the 1 hour, kind of coming in the next, you know, coming days. Like I said when I was looking at the daily on Bitcoin, where I said sell in the next couple of days and then buy back whatever they said over. I do think in the next couple of days we do have a retractment and move upwards. There's potential to come back down towards 67, 63, whatever it is. I don't know about 63.20. I could be wrong. I could be absolutely wrong, and we could come as low as there. However, I would want to say 67.5 is where I want to say to come to roughly for Litecoin as our lowest point, because we are oversold as it is right now. You know, we are below the zero line for the VWAP. Money flow is really coming down, but it is quite steep. The lowest we've seen in a while for our VWAP, we're edging towards it now. So that could start to arc upwards, which would then in turn cause our momentum to really start to arc upwards, which would then bring along a really big movement upwards for, you know, the market or for Litecoin. Sorry. So I don't believe in 63. It's low. It is really low, and it is, you know, it is a potential, but I don't know. I don't see it. I could be wrong, like I said. Obviously, none of it's financial advice. But I don't really see it. That was kind of an order block here, actually. Again, another order block, which actually brings us towards 67. Again, another order block here, which I didn't see. Really big, really good one there. This is the daily order block, so this is going to be huge. Litecoin 45. What, $45 for Litecoin? I don't know about that. Damn, that's like, jeez. That was a long time ago since we saw those sort of prices. I mean, Shay, if it happens, fair enough. I don't know if that's going to happen, though, personally. Again, I've just found this big old order block, bringing us to about $67 as a worst case, or worst case being about $66, $67 being the midpoint. I don't see $63 personally. That is my non-financial opinion, although. So I do think we come towards that sort of line. But I think in general we have a retractment soon for most coins. Again, we are bouncing off this $70 and 73 range anyway. So, you know, we could wick towards these sorts of prices, but I think we have retractment very soon anyway. So I don't think, again, I don't think we have that much more room to move down. I really don't. But I think that's pretty much it. I think, what did I say about the 1 hour? Yeah, I think, again, I think we could come back again. Oh, look at that on the 4 hour. Really, really deep there. And the VWAP's coming up. I think we retract towards 63, or $73, $74 for Litecoin. Possibly, best case, bouncing off that line. Best case, bouncing off $75 and then coming down back towards 67. That could be a potential. So I'm going to draw two lines. I'm going to draw this one, and I'm going to draw this. Oops, that's the wrong one. I'm going to draw this one. Yeah, I think we have a tiny bit of retractment, as I do in the entire market, I think, anyway, and then we come back down. I don't think we see 63, sorry, as a personal. Yeah, true. That is true. I mean, if it goes any worse, we might need some explosive help via a semi-automatic device, if you know what I mean. But anyway, hey, both directions, there's ways to profit in both directions. So, you know, your portfolio might be going down in value, but that is not your conceived value. That is a situational value which will surpass in the coming year. Obviously, I think it's November 2025. is when we expect the big move upwards. However, we should have had a bit more movement than we had right now. So there's arguments to be made. So in the long term, it'll all be okay, and there's always ways to profit on both aspects of things. So all my advice would be, if you're feeling down, just find a way to profit on either movement. Well, obviously, if you could profit on the price moving either way, then hey, I wouldn't be here right now. If I figured out a way of making money on either it going down or going up, then I'd own the world. But anyway, just try and find opportunities to make money wherever you can, especially in downtrends. Downtrends are as predictable as uptrends. So maybe start to look into futures if you're a spot trader, or just buying the coin and that's all you do. Hey, if that's all you want to do, more than fine. I am not some sort of person who wants to force you to do anything. Obviously, is your prerogative. But maybe look at doing some leverage trading. Maybe look at trying to trade on the downtrends and the uptrends. But that's my opinion. I do want to look at the Bitcoin monthly chart though, because it has been recommended by Mikey. So I will have a look at that. Obviously, we had the daily. The daily was horrible. The monthly though, I do not know. Oh no! I did not see that in the playbook. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Print above, flipping our movement to a downtrend. Oh god! Big resistance, bringing us down to where? Okay, well, if we, in theory, had a trend like this, bounce, bringing us towards, depends if we hover, bounce, 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 bounce. Hey, I mean, we could see, I don't know. It's scary. It's really not nice. That order block is, like, pristine anyway. That is, like, a really, really clean order block. And we obviously bounce off the top of it. That's pretty negative. I don't like that. I'm not very happy about that. I mean, you could argue we're kind of in a uptrend regardless on the monthly, but this is the monthly. I mean, this takes a long time anyway. I actually don't know if this is an expanding whatever the hell. Oh. I think I'm wrong. Oh no. Bearish rising wedge. Bounce. Okay, how long does this take? Okay, bounce, bounce, bounce. So 2026, we're gonna dump. I'm ending the stream. I'm gonna end the stream now. So I mean, yeah, I guess we'll leave that as it is, right there. So thank you. Huh? I see first time running confused. Hey, huh? Oh, you did mention competition, didn't you? Well, on the certain place we have, I can't say much more than that, which we had. I don't get the bonus anymore, so I can't copy trade. But what can work, obviously, I know if you want it automated, getting correctly, yeah, man, we're getting absolutely stuffed right now. It's been terrible. But obviously, going back to the copy trading, we don't have an automated system right now. But if it is requested, I can be doing more daily charts and posting them on the Telegram for you to do trading. Obviously, it has to be manual because copy trading, I can't do that. Because with copy trading, you have to have the money, and like we were getting bonus so we could do it for you guys. But then we stopped getting that, so I couldn't do the copy trading, so I couldn't do. So there was literally no point of being on the platform. So what I can, like I said, what I can do currently, I can just post the signals in the trading area on Telegram. So if there is, if you still want it, it is a manual system where you do have to go make the trade yourself and be active in the Telegram. But obviously, if you want to get interested, or if you're interested and want to get involved, I mean, to say, check the description out. There are links there for the Telegram and everything nonetheless. Oh, look at that. Market Cipher, look at that. That arc there. Money flows coming down and view up. That is just a telltale sign that we're coming down. So How long does this take? You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles to do here. Hover, hover, hover. Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bring it to about here. 53k. 53k, guys. Go green market. I mean, hey, I think you can find positivity in the negativity. As I said earlier, I think the goal as a trader is to find a way to profit. I mean, obviously you can do, like I said, futures. I think it's to find a way to profit no matter what the market's in currently. Obviously, if it's, you know, crabbing or there's a perfect word for this. I slipped my mind. If it's crabbing, I don't know. If it's in a cross trend, you know, you could scalp. If it's obviously you could do swing trading. Regardless, I think, you know, the goal is obviously try and find a way to profit regardless of how the market's moving, and, you know, I think you'll be happy then. So, you know, I do like to say, oh yeah, I want really big positivity for the markets. You know, I want to be really positive, but again, I'd be lying to you guys. Yeah, I would be lying if I was to be only positive and keep the positivity. You know, you have to be negative sometimes, which is a shame. But anyway, really not looking good on the monthly. Thank you for putting that out though, because this is horrible, horrible. So, worst case scenario, that's next year. We could see some pretty negativity, pretty big negativity. 66.5 seems like the big old resistance point, but 71.5 has a big old thing there. But we are in an uptrend, so it depends on if we break this order block. Do you know what would be huge? If we bounce and then come back upwards, and then next year, if we come back to this order block and surge back upwards and then bounce and use it as support, we are going to absolutely moon. But again, I mean, I think this is a bearish pattern, so we could break out. But anyway, closing this. Thank you. Actually, I'm reading the comment. I'm going to be accumulating for longer. Yeah, I mean, hey, Bitcoin dupe. Yeah, I mean, like I said, dupe is in a. Oh, that's a different comment. Yeah, dupe is in a really good position to buy anyway. Yeah, accumulating. I mean, like I said, I mean, I think if we look, it's like analysis paralysis. If we go too far out and we think about what's going to happen in a year and 6 months' time, and we think, oh, that's going to be negative, but this is going to be positive, we're going to paralyze ourselves in analysis. I think it's always great to look at what's going to be happening, especially if we print in this order block and we're starting to bounce now, we're hovering, and within the end of this year, we start to come down. That is big. You know, you want to take that on board as you're trading. But again, with this is the monthly. There are many weeks, or, you know, 5 or 4, whatever it is. And then there's 30, 31, whatever the month you're in. There's like a lot of days in a month. I don't know why I'm saying this. This is obvious. There's a lot of days in a month. And there's a lot of 4 hours in a day. So there's a lot of opportunities to trade regardless of what situation you are in on the monthly. But it is something good to look at anyway. What I do want to do, though, is go back to the daily and reiterate my point of potential sell in the next 2 or 3 days as we come back upwards, coming down towards, you know, 62.342, whatever it may be. And then either potential to either come down, and this is what I'm concerned about. But to be fair, what was really good, we just found that order block. The support point's at 61. Hey, we might not come back down all the way there, but if we surge down, oh, even worse as well, if we come back upwards and bounce off 66, that'll just confirm that we're below the order block. Okay, a lot of negativity. Potentially, you know, you could sell now and then buy back at 55. Like I said, sell now, trade meme coins, try and make some profit, come back to this, buy at 57, 56, and then, yeah. Bounce 70k in a week possible. What day does it say? Tuesday. Yeah, absolutely. Or maybe not a week. Maybe I'd give it maybe 2 weeks. But yeah, like I was saying, if we do bounce off this midpoint, and I was comparing it to this situation where there's potential to be in the middle of a range and then bounce back. So you see here, you know, bounce. This is normal, but there's potential where you come back upwards, bounce off some sort of midpoint, and then come back to the lower point. So what my point was earlier was we could have a scenario where we bounce. Obviously, we had a midpoint here where we bounce, and then we could bounce off of here and then come upwards. There's potential for it. We'd have to watch out on next week, Wednesday, Thursday time, which I will be streaming for. So, do keep in the loop, I suppose. That'll be an interesting stream to see if we do print above this or not. Because if we bounce, we could be coming to a really high point. But again, it's just very unfortunate. It's just everything looks really negative right now. And I don't like it. I really don't. But anyway, thank you. I'm going to end the stream now. Stream for an hour, 20 minutes. Pretty good stream. Thank you. Good viewership today. I'm still trying to figure out the times. We did a poll on our Telegram to see if different timings would be better for people. Seems like 6 to 9 was kind of the consensus. Obviously, 9 till 10 right now. A good amount of viewership. So, if this time is good and there's a consistency in the amount of people at this time, then I suppose I will be streaming at these times again. For the foreseeable future. But anyway, thank you so much for spending, quite a lot of time actually. An hour 20 minutes is a decent amount of time when you consider how many time, how long you are awake and how much you have to do in a day. An hour is quite a lot of time. So thank you so much for joining the stream. Hopefully TA was good. I tried to keep it more broad today because I always look at the daily, or I have a glance at the daily, and then we go to like the 1 hour, 4 hour. We've gone even further. I'm trying to put more emphasis on the daily. Obviously now we looked at the monthly and the weekly. I just wanted to see what was going on, in the future for Bitcoin. I don't think I do that enough as a personally, which I'll hold myself accountable for. But I think it was good actually to look at a bit of a higher time frame and see what's going on in the next coming days and weeks as we move. But again, like I said, middle of next month, potential to be our lowest point where we surge. So you could put buy orders at 57 and then see what's going on there. But I suppose, after 62.5, you could just DCA in because we could bounce off 60,000. We could go as low as 57, 56, and then bounce. So there's many price points to consider, which we're going to have to watch out for as we move along in the month or the coming month. So, again, sorry, I need to end the stream. I need to stop talking. Thank you so much for watching. The more low, the more high. That is true. The lower we come towards 56, 55, the higher we're going to go towards 70k. There's potential for it. But anyway, thank you. Cheers. Thank you for joining. I mean, hey, I guess we'll see what happens in a week. I'm thinking more to say that I should just end the stream. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you. What's today? It's Tuesday. Could stream Thursday, Friday. I'll keep it posted. I'll see what happens because I expect us to kind of come back up a tiny bit. To kind of bounce off some sort of support, resistance point and then come downwards, as I think everything is going to be as a whole. So I think what I might do is watch the charts and see if we do that and follow through with it, and then probably stream that day and then give an update on what the price is going to do then. So it could be maybe Thursday, Friday. Obviously we are streaming Saturday anyway, so I might not be Friday, but Mondays we stream anyway. Wednesday, Thursday is normally when I stream next. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Come on, Fitzy. Oh, come on, Fitzy. Oh, come on, Fitzy.